Selected one, you are not here by chance. Heaven itself has arranged your path to intersect with this exact message at the perfect time. This instant is not arbitrary, it is a divine meeting. The Spirit of God has halted your scrolling, broken into your day, and positioned you before this word because you are on the brink of a profound spiritual change. Anointed one, the designated hour has arrived. The Bible states in Habakkuk 2:3, "For the revelation awaits an appointed time. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay." That appointed time is no longer in the future. It is not one day. It is now, this day, this night, or in the hours just ahead. This is your Kairos moment, the convergence of God's perfect timing with your fate. You have sensed it, the agitation, the anticipation, the silent awareness that something greater is close. Heaven has already spoken, and right now, the echo of triumph is resonating over your life. What the adversary intended to entomb you, God has transformed into the fertile ground for your blessing. Selected one, ready your heart. Heaven is laughing, not with scorn, but in victory. And that laughter signifies your breakthrough has already started. Chosen one, perceive this with your spirit. Your actions today might have seemed mundane, minor, almost unseen, but in heaven, they were thunderous. They held eternal significance. They ascended before the throne of God. And when they did, he laughed. Not the superficial laugh of derision, but the laugh of absolute victory. The laugh of a father who already knows the outcome. That sound was triumph declared, a proclamation that the adversary's plots have failed and your destiny is still secure. Anointed one, you frequently critique yourself too severely. You measure your advancement against others and believe you are lagging. You dwell on past errors and think your efforts are too feeble to matter. But heaven's metrics are not like earth's. Where you perceive frailty, God perceives bravery. Where you notice a minuscule seed, he already envisions a thriving forest. Where you see a shaky prayer murmured through tears, he beholds faith strong enough to rattle kingdoms. I have endured those unseen seasons. I offered prayers that seemed too delicate to count. I pardoned people who never sought forgiveness. I held on to hope when despair seemed more secure. And God reminded me each time, the smallest yes holds everlasting power. A concealed act of obedience can echo through generations. That is the reason heaven resounded with laughter over you today. Chosen one, do not undervalue this instant. You did not merely get through another day. You disrupted the strategies of hell. You remained standing where failure looked inevitable. You spoke up when quiet was anticipated. You advanced when fear commanded freeze. That obedience, as fragile as it appeared, overjoyed heaven. Picture a toddler's initial steps, unsteady, wobbly, about to tumble. The parent isn't upset. The parent is thrilled because motion has started. That is how God viewed you today. The reality that you remain is itself a testament. The adversary's plot was not haphazard. It was meticulous, crafted to quiet prayer, entomb hope, and persuade you God had looked away. Yet here you are, breathing, searching, hearing. That persistence alone is triumph. Every single breath proclaims, the strategy against me has collapsed. Each dawn you get up, each instance you select faith, even shaky faith. Heaven laughs because the foe has been defeated once more. Your life isn't accidental survival. It is proof that God's hand continues to hold you. And if the adversary couldn't eliminate you yesterday, envision the terror he feels knowing what God is getting ready to unleash tomorrow. This is why minor obedience must never be overlooked. Heaven's currency is not like earth's. The world applauds headlines, advancements, acclaim, but God applauds the hidden, the prayer uttered in a silent room, the forgiveness no one saw, the sacrifice that cost you immensely but earned no praise. Every invisible act is recorded in eternity. Everyone loosens the hold of darkness. I have observed this in my own path. The moments I considered squandered were the ones heaven amplified. The secret yes, the seed of belief, the step no one praised. Those became the turning points of breakthrough. And today, selected one, you sowed seeds the enemy cannot excavate. Seeds of perseverance, seeds of faith, seeds that will produce fruit for generations you might never see. Heaven has already responded. God has already laughed, and that laugh indicates momentum has changed. If you could perceive what shifted in the invisible, you would never waver again. What seemed common here echoed in eternity. What felt like a whisper resounded as a shout in heaven. Chosen one, cherish this. The very tactic created to bury you has unrailed. The laughter of heaven isn't passive, it is force. It is heaven's ruling. This fight is already decided. The result is changing. The tide is shifting. Favor is flowing in your direction. The enemy analyzed your habits, set snares around your doubts, counted on your weariness. But today you shattered the pattern. You gave when you had nothing left. You stood when you were meant to collapse. You spoke when quiet appeared wiser. That act set off a chain reaction beyond your understanding. It was like a chess match, the adversary smirking, assured of his win. But your unforeseen move overturned the entire board. That is why God laughed, because he saw what the enemy never foresaw. Anointed one. Heaven doesn't require grand displays. Heaven answers to faith. Heaven answers to purity. Heaven answers to truth. One murmured yes, genuine and unseen, possesses more authority than 1,000 hollow pronouncements. One private act of integrity surpasses 100 stage displays. So cease diminishing yourself. Stop accepting that obedience only counts when it's observed. Stop contrasting your path with highlight reels that conceal the battle. Heaven isn't impressed with volume. Heaven values depth. And today you demonstrated that depth is alive within you. Perhaps you feel invisible. Perhaps you believe you are merely enduring. But endurance is not insignificant. Endurance is a testament. Every breath states, I am still present. Every step murmurs, the plot against me has collapsed. Every decision to persist makes heaven lean in, celebrating, proclaiming they are still standing. Chosen one, recall this. What attempted to annihilate you has failed. That by itself makes your life a breathing victory. But God is proclaiming more. This period is no longer just about endurance. It is about acceleration. When heaven laughs, it is not only joy, it is a sign. It means the very ground under you is preparing to give back the harvest you prayed for. And it all started with your yes today. Chosen one, lean into this mystery. The laugh of God is not commonplace. It is not shallow amusement. It is sacred triumph, strategy, and proclamation. When God laughs, he is not reacting. He is announcing. That sound rattles unseen territories. It signals that the environment around your life has already changed. Chains that appeared unbreakable are fracturing. Doors that resisted you are shuttering. Timelines are bending toward their fulfillment. His laughter over you today is evidence that your story has moved into a new chapter. Anointed one, survival itself is more potent than you realize. You often minimize your stamina, labeling it weakness, but survival is a testimony. Every time you inhale, you mock the strategies of hell. You outlasted the tempests that were crafted to bury you. You endured nights that were orchestrated to shatter you. Yet here you stand alive and seeking him. Do not call that insignificant. Heaven calls it victory. Every sunrise is your declaration to the unseen. The plan against me has failed. I know this place. I have lived through days where climbing out of bed felt like battling an army. I have murmured prayers so faint they barely became words. I have opted for hope while submerged in questions. Later, God revealed to me those moments held eternal significance. Heaven documented what earth disregarded. My sighs were songs, my tears were seeds, my frailty was forged into courage. And this is what heaven perceives in you now. Chosen one, grasp this truth. Heaven honors the first step, not merely the finish line. The world anticipates trophies and accolades, but heaven celebrates when you simply advance. That unsteady yes you offered today was sufficient to shake eternity. That delicate act of obedience possessed force. God laughed because he already knows how far this single step will eventually take you. The world cherishes visibility. People commend what they can quantify, but heaven treasures the concealed. A prayer whispered in the dark can shatter generational curses. Forgiveness extended without witnesses can unlock doors for descendants. A sacrifice no one acknowledged can birth supernatural provision. Do not scorn the hidden, for heaven elevates what earth ignores. Anointed one, visualize ripples on water. A small stone drops and the splash seems minor, yet the ripples spread further than your gaze can follow. Your obedience today was that stone. The splash appeared ordinary, but heaven witnessed waves propagating across eternity. Angels were mobilized, seeds in the ground began to push upward, shut gates began to budge. What seemed overlooked has already agitated the unseen. The laugh of God signifies the game is done. The enemy believed he had understood your patterns. He counted on your weariness, your doubt, your quiet. He predicted you would fold as before. But today you did not. You shattered the cycle. You rose when you were meant to sink. You gave when you were depleted. You trusted when fear screamed loudest. That action overturned the board. The adversary smirked, thinking he possessed victory. But your unexpected move demolished his plan. God laughed because he saw what the enemy never conceived. Chosen one. This alters how you walk. When heaven laughs over your life, you cease crawling in shame. You cease pleading for authorization to exist. You cease comparing your path with others. You start to carry yourself with quiet conviction. The laugh of God is assurance. It is heaven's method of saying you are not behind. You are not disregarded. You are progressing in perfect timing. Acceleration follows divine laughter. Yesterday concerned survival. Today concerns increase. The very soil beneath your feet is changing. What you planted in tears will return with rejoicing. What looked entombed is pushing through. God does not laugh without purpose. His laughter means breakthrough is not just approaching, it has already commenced. Think of your extended nights of silence, the years of unfulfilled questions, the seasons where nothing appeared to shift. Every moment was a seed. Those seeds have not perished. They have been hidden, waiting. And now heaven's laughter is the rain. The laugh is God proclaiming, now is the designated time. Chosen one, never forget that your obedience possesses generational significance. What you did today is not solely about you. It will echo down through bloodlines. Children you may never know will inherit pathways opened by your faith. Families will walk in liberty because you whispered yes. Communities will encounter blessings because you persevered. Heaven laughs because God perceives the legacy that your obedience has guaranteed. Anointed one, hold this revelation tightly. You are not merely surviving for yourself. You are carrying destiny inside you. Heaven's laughter is heaven's promise that your life holds meaning beyond this moment. That is why you must quiet doubt. That is why you must stop scorning your advancement. The laugh of God confirms your journey is progressing, so lift your head, chosen one. The laughter of heaven envelops you like a shield. Carry it inside your heart. Let it submerge every murmur of fear. Let it nullify every lie of inadequacy. Let it remind you each time you move forward. The King of Glory has already laughed, and his laugh is the emblem of your victory. Chosen one. The laugh of God is not the conclusion of the story, it is the start of acceleration. That sound in heaven is not just a celebration, it is an activation. It puts things into motion that no force of darkness can reverse. When God laughs, the spiritual environment shifts in your favor. The very ground under your feet starts to prepare for increase. What was postponed is being released. What was secured is being opened. That laugh has already moved ahead of you to make uneven places smooth. Anointed one. This is why you must never scorn the waiting period. You mistook delay for denial, but it was preparation. You assumed silence meant rejection, but it was hidden alignment. God was forging strength in you while no one was looking. He was planting seeds of endurance that could only flourish in the soil of adversity. And now the laughter of heaven is the rain that stirs those seeds. What you considered wasted time has become the bedrock of breakthrough. I understand the ache of delay. I know what it feels like to pray for years with no visible response. I know the sting of seeing others celebrate while you remain in silence. Yet every time I neared the brink of despair, God murmured, "Wait, trust my timing." Looking back, I can perceive that He was shielding me from blessings I was not prepared to manage. He was readying me for a harvest that demanded deeper roots. Chosen one, this is the identical truth over your life. What felt like lost years was sacred development. Heaven's laughter means the development phase is concluding. It means manifestation is approaching. The walls that constrained you are rattling. The ceilings that restricted you are fracturing. Doors that refused you are unlocking. The laugh of God is heaven's insignia that says now, chosen one, do not overlook this. Your obedience in the unseen place has generated momentum in the visible place. The prayers you offered through tears are ascending as a fragrance before the throne. The sacrifices you made in quiet are speaking more loudly than words. The forgiveness you extended without praise is resounding in eternity. Heaven laughs because God sees how these instances have interlaced together into destiny. Anointed one, consider Joseph in the prison, forgotten by humans, disregarded by those he aided, but not ignored by God. Every concealed day was preparation for the palace. And when the moment was right, God elevated him in a single instant. That is what heaven's laughter signifies for you. It is the sign that your hidden faithfulness is about to intersect with public favor. Chosen one, you might still feel unnoticed. You might still question if anyone perceives the load you carry, but heaven has documented every single detail. Not one tear has been squandered. Not one act of faith has been disregarded. And now the laugh of God is proclaiming, it is harvest time. You need to conduct yourself with confidence. This is not pride. It is holy assurance. When you know God has laughed over your life, you move differently. You no longer contract to fit into spaces you have surpassed. You no longer apologize for the anointing on your life. You cease living for the fickle approval of people and start operating in the unshakable approval of God. His laughter has already guaranteed your victory. Anointed one, hear this distinctly. The laugh of God is heaven's armament. It is not passive joy. It is a sound that dismantles strategies of darkness. It baffles the enemy. It disrupts his forecasts. He believed he had analyzed you, memorized your vulnerabilities, controlled your reactions. But heaven laughed because you departed from the script. You selected faith where fear was expected to rule. That act rewrote the conclusion. I have witnessed this in my own journey. Times when I believed I was losing, heaven was actually celebrating. Times when I believed I was stuck, God was already laughing because he knew the turnaround had commenced. And I am convinced this is what he is proclaiming over you now. What appears unfinished to you is already complete in His perspective. Chosen one. The laughter of God should provoke your spirit to dream once more, to believe once more, to anticipate once more. Do not allow disappointment to chain your vision. Do not allow weariness to pilfer your expectancy. If God has laughed, then the battle is already concluded. The only remaining question is when the victory will manifest. And heaven's laughter indicates, soon. Anointed one, step courageously. Heaven is not waiting for your perfection. Heaven is responding to your faith. Do not scorn small beginnings. Do not diminish trembling obedience. Each act holds power. Each whisper holds weight. Each seed holds a future harvest. Chosen one, lift your eyes. The season has changed. Heaven is celebrating over you. The laugh of God is resounding through eternity, announcing that what sought to bury you will now become the soil of blessing. Carry that assurance. Let it ground you. Let it nullify every doubt. Because if heaven has already laughed, then your victory is inevitable. Chosen one, the laughter of heaven is not conventional sound. It is not shallow, not hollow, not feeble. It is the sound of victory that rattles both the visible and invisible. When God laughs, tempests lose their force. When God laughs, barriers begin to disintegrate. When God laughs, impossible mountains yield before His word. His laughter is not arbitrary. It is a divine proclamation. It is heaven's edict that the tide is turned and the narrative has been rewritten in your favor. Anointed one. This is why you cannot gauge your destiny by earthly schedules. The calendars of men are unstable, fragile, and fleeting. Heaven's calendar is eternal, flawless, and unshakable. You are not tardy. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. The laughter of God is evidence that your designated hour has arrived. Nothing can obstruct it. Nothing can nullify it. Nothing can reverse it. His laughter is the divine insignia confirming that the season has shifted and the alignment is complete. I understand the ache of waiting. I know the sting of postponement, the quiet of prayers that seem unanswered, the sorrow of seeing others celebrate while you stay hidden. Yet I also know the elation that arrives when God finally acts. Looking backward, I can see plainly that postponement was not denial. Silence was not desertion. Hiddenness was not retribution. It was protection. It was preparation. It was God expanding my capacity to manage blessings far larger than I conceived. When His timing came, His laughter made sense. It demonstrated that every moment of waiting held a purpose. Chosen one, your concealed years have been sacred classrooms of destiny. Every whispered prayer was a seed. Every tear irrigated the soil. Every unseen act of obedience enriched the ground. Heaven's laughter is evidence that the soil has fractured open. The harvest is emerging. What you believed was buried permanently is alive. What you thought was unseen is manifesting. Heaven celebrates because the release has arrived and the promise is materializing. Anointed one, consider Sarah. She laughed when she heard God's promise because it seemed impossible. Yet God's laughter was greater. He was not shaken by her uncertainty. He was anchored in His word. And just as Sarah held Isaac, the proof of God's promise, you will hold what He has declared. Heaven laughs because impossibility has already yielded to divine certainty. Chosen one, begin living as if the promise is already present. Pray as if the answer has already come. Speak as if the blessing is in your grasp. Walk as if the doors are opened ahead of you. God's laughter is not a mere suggestion. It is confirmation. It informs creation that the issue is settled, that your future is secure, that your destiny is unstoppable. I have endured seasons that felt like the conclusion. I grieved dreams I believed had perished. I interred opportunities I thought were gone. I watched doors shut and presumed they would never open again. But then God acted abruptly. Provision materialized from nowhere. Connections were forged I could never have orchestrated. New pathways opened in impossible locations. In those instances, I grasped that heaven had been laughing all along. His laughter had proclaimed victory even when my eyes could not perceive it. Anointed one, let heaven's laughter fortify your soul. You might feel inadequate, but heaven has already outfitted you. You might feel unnoticed, but heaven has already commended you. You might feel weak, but God has dressed you in His strength. Cease diminishing your advancement. Stop belittling your obedience. Heaven's laughter is your reminder that you are chosen, you are approved, you are anointed, chosen one. Never forget, heaven does not laugh over squandered stories. If God is laughing, it means your scars will testify of restoration. Your tears will become rivers of renewal. Your pain will be reformed into power. His laughter is heaven's edict that your purpose cannot be nullified. What the enemy crafted to bear you has become the soil of blessing. Anointed one, your breakthrough is not solely for you. It is for those tied to your destiny. Your obedience will unlock doors for others. Your perseverance will offer hope to exhausted hearts. Your faith will ignite courage in people poised to capitulate. Heaven laughs because God perceives the ripple of your yes. He sees generations altered because you opted to keep standing. So rise in sacred confidence, chosen one. This is not hubris. It is alignment with heaven. You are not crawling toward victory. You are progressing from victory already attained. Heaven's laughter nullifies lies, breaks curses, and obliterates schemes. His joy is mightier than fear. His decree is louder than doubt. His laughter is the conclusive word. Lift your head high, anointed one. The King has laughed over your life. Carry that sound within your spirit. Let it silence every fear. Let it submerge every murmur of insecurity. Let it remind you daily that when heaven laughs, the outcome is already determined. The story is sealed, the ending secure, the victory indisputable. Heaven's laughter is your covering, your confidence, and your crown. Chosen one. The laughter of heaven does not diminish, it echoes, it transmits, it resonates across eternity. That sound is not a fleeting celebration. It is a living proclamation. It continues to ripple long after the act of obedience that triggered it. When God laughs, His joy creates momentum. His delight becomes the breeze behind your steps. His sound is not confined to heaven. It moves through all creation, shaking existing structures, breaking old patterns, and setting new foundations in your life. Anointed one, do not undervalue what a single act of faith can unleash. You might judge it as small. You might believe it was trivial. Yet heaven quantifies differently. Your yes holds significance. Your prayer holds power. Your obedience possesses eternal authority. God laughs because He is aware of what the enemy cannot perceive, that your step has initiated a chain reaction, and the strategies of hell are unraveling piece by piece. I know this from experience. There were moments when I believed my words and prayers were mere whispers lost in the atmosphere. I questioned if heaven even perceived them. But later I understood those whispers held thunder in the spirit. My most minor obedience generated ripples far beyond my view. People were impacted, chains fractured, provision arrived, and in those instances I could perceive heaven's laughter reveling in the unseen power set loose through fragile faith. Chosen one, you may not consistently feel potent. You may not always observe evidence, but heaven is not assessing by feelings or appearances. Heaven is assessing by faith. One seed of faith sown in frailty can mature into a forest of transformation. One whispered yes, spoken through unsteady lips, can topple decades of generational bondage. That is why God laughs not because your step was flawless, but because it was faithful, anointed one. Recall this: The enemy analyzes patterns. He forecasts your reactions based on previous behavior. He constructs traps anticipating you to surrender, to withdraw, to become silent. But today you fractured the pattern. You did what was unforeseen. You forgave when resentment seemed simpler. You prayed when silence appeared wiser. You stood when collapse looked unavoidable. That act was the unpredicted maneuver that overturned the board. Heaven laughed because the snare failed and the enemy's projections disintegrated. Chosen one, grasp the prophetic significance of breaking patterns. Heaven celebrates not just the result, but also the instant you refuse to replicate cycles. Every time you withstand old temptations, heaven laughs. Every time you select trust over fear, heaven laughs. Every time you persist in moving forward, even while trembling, heaven laughs. His joy is the anthem of your perseverance. I can attest to this. There were struggles I encountered repeatedly, cycles that appeared endless. But the day I ultimately chose differently, the atmosphere shifted. It was not dramatic externally, but in the spirit, chains broke. Heaven responded. The laughter of God propelled me forward. I understood then that one decision to shatter an old cycle is enough to unleash new seasons. Anointed one, this is your instant. The laughter of God is not only joy for today, it is also prophecy for tomorrow. It declares that acceleration has commenced. It declares that doors are swinging open. It declares that momentum has shifted. You will not just survive, you will advance. You will not simply endure, you will overflow. The same heaven that laughed yesterday is still laughing today, because your future is materializing in victory. Chosen one, do not scorn the minor beginnings. Do not diminish the trembling. Yes, do not contrast your path with louder voices or brighter platforms. Heaven is not impressed by volume. Heaven responds to depth. One act of integrity holds more significance than 100 hollow performances. One prayer in private shakes more than 1,000 speeches for accolades. That is why God's laughter is crucial. It discloses what genuinely matters. Anointed one, consider how parents react to a child's first step. They do not require perfection. They do not critique the wobbling. They rejoice. They celebrate. Their delight is not in flawless motion, but in the bravery to move at all. That is how heaven regards you, not with irritation over imperfection, but with delight in obedience. The laughter of God is His celebration of your courage to continue stepping forward. Chosen one, the sound of heaven is stronger than the deceptions of hell. Let His laughter submerge the murmurs of doubt. Let His joy nullify the accusations of failure. Let His decree void the predictions of defeat. If heaven has already celebrated, then the result is not in question. Victory is not a theory. It is destiny. Anointed one, bring this reality into each day. Heaven isn't holding back celebration until you cross the finish line. Heaven celebrates at this moment. Heaven delights now. Heaven laughs now. The instant you select faith, you unleash heaven's resonance into your environment. And that resonance will bear you, shield you, and affirm you until the promise is tangible before your eyes. So advance with sacred courage, selected one. You are not walking isolated. You are moving to the cadence of heaven's laughter. You are not struggling to be accepted. You are operating from acceptance already granted. You are not wishing for victory. You are advancing in victory already secured. The King has laughed, and His laughter is your power, your assurance, your shield, and your crown. Chosen one, I need you to perceive this with the entirety of your heart. Heaven is not just responding to your loudest moments. Heaven is responding to the sincerity of your yes. The world might seek volume, acknowledgement, and spectacle, but heaven seeks genuineness, truth, and substance. What you consider quiet, what you believe is disregarded, God labels holy. Anointed one whispered yes, given from an unsteady heart, possesses more authority than 1,000 hollow pronouncements. One act of integrity in private holds more weight on heaven's scales than 100 public displays done for praise. You might feel unnoticed, but heaven is leaning in. You might feel common, but God has already marked you as extraordinary. Cease diminishing yourself. Stop believing the falsehood that your obedience only matters when people see it. Stop contrasting your steps with the highlight reels of others. Heaven isn't assessing volume. Heaven is assessing depth. And today you showed there is depth inside you. Maybe you've been disregarded. Maybe you felt unseen, as if nothing you do registers. But endurance itself is a testament. Every breath you take proclaims, I am still present. Every step you move whispers, the plot against me has collapsed. And every time you awaken and decide to persist, heaven celebrates. They are still standing. Chosen one, your perseverance has been undervalued. You have resided within your struggles for so long that you no longer perceive your own resilience. But allow me to remind you of the truth. What sought to annihilate you did not prevail. That alone renders your life a living victory. You may not grasp it completely yet, but every scar is evidence of survival. And every survival is a prophecy of forthcoming acceleration. And now heaven is proclaiming that your season is shifting. This is no longer about simply surviving. This is about momentum. This is about acceleration. When God laughs, it is never passive. His laughter is a beacon. It means the tide has shifted. It means the designated season has come. It means the very ground under you is preparing to produce fruit from every seed you sowed in tears. Anointed one, this is why the pressure has been mounting in your spirit. This is why you sense a stirring, an urgency, a feeling that something greater is encircling your life. The laughter of heaven is never silent. It agitates the air. It adjusts timelines. It draws breakthroughs from the unseen into the visible. And it began because you said yes when no would have been simpler. Consider it like a ripple on a pond. You release a small pebble, and initially it appears as just a tiny splash, but then the ripples start to spread outward, further and wider than you could have foreseen. Every minor step of obedience has been like a pebble dropped into eternity. Today's step, the one you assumed no one saw, sent ripples that touched heaven's courts. Angels stirred, chains loosened, doors started to respond, seeds buried long ago began to move with life. Chosen one, you may not perceive all of it yet, but you will. Heaven never laughs without purpose. God never celebrates without reason. That laugh held significance. That laugh held a promise. That laugh declared, the battle is already shifting in your favor. This is the part you must cherish. If God is laughing, you can cease doubting. Stop doubting the schedule. Stop doubting your capability. Stop doubting whether you suffice. If heaven has already honored your step, then the victory is no longer a matter of if. It is only a matter of when. Anointed one, you might have been instructed to celebrate only at the conclusion, but heaven celebrates at the initial step. Heaven honors the procedure, not just the outcome. The journey itself is sacred. The advancement itself is holy. When you grasp that, you cease living with the weight of not there yet and begin walking with the assurance of already chosen. That change alters everything. You stop pursuing fickle approval from people and start moving in the unshakable approval of God. And when you possess that kind of assurance, nothing can daunt you anymore. No falsehood from the enemy can quiet you. No postponement can unsettle you. No rejection can characterize you because the King has laughed. and his laughter has sealed the result. Chosen one, let me reaffirm. God saw you today. He saw the hidden exertion, the unsteady obedience, the fragile yes. He saw it, and he laughed with joy. That laugh means your narrative is not stagnant. That laugh means your obedience holds more power than you comprehend. That laugh means the outcome has already been altered in your favor. So carry that sound in your spirit. The Creator of all things has leaned back on his throne, smiling, laughing over your life. Let that sound submerge the doubts. Let that sound nullify every murmur that tells you you are lagging. Because if the king is laughing, the ending is already guaranteed. And chosen one, that ending is victory. Chosen one. When heaven laughs, it is never shallow or trivial. It is not merely a fleeting moment of joy. It is a sound saturated with authority and prophecy. God does not laugh arbitrarily. His laughter is a proclamation. His laughter is a seal. His laughter is a reminder that your obedience has already influenced things you cannot yet perceive. What seemed common to you held eternal significance in the spirit. What you mistook for survival has become the very proof that you are unstoppable in him. Anointed one, you must grasp that this laughter is not solely about you. It is also about what God will unleash through you. Heaven laughs because your testimony will become a guide for others. Heaven laughs because your scars will heal those still in pain. Heaven laughs because your yes is larger than your own imagination, impacting lives and generations you may never know. God's laughter is proof that your destiny is bigger than your personal narrative. The enemy dreaded this truth. That is why he attempted to silence you. He knew that once you triumphed, your story would liberate others. He labored to bury you under shame and persuade you that your voice held no value. He tried to make you believe your prayers were too feeble to matter. Yet heaven laughed because God already perceived the ripple of influence that would flow from your persistence. Every prayer carried thunder in eternity. Every act of endurance rattled foundations of darkness. I know this profoundly. There was a period when I thought perseverance was the only thing I had remaining. I told myself, if I can simply endure, perhaps that will suffice. But later I found that people had been observing silently. They saw me persist when quitting would have been simpler. They drew strength from my yes. They found courage in my scars. And in that instant, I understood that my survival was not just my own. It was their breakthrough too. Heaven laughed because one person's obedience transformed into a river flowing into numerous lives. Chosen one, your life is a living message. Your scars preach more effectively than polished addresses. Your endurance is a testament inscribed into eternity. Your breakthrough is a guide for others. This is why heaven laughs. What once appeared as defeat has been rewritten as wisdom. What once felt like failure has transformed into a weapon. The valley you traversed is now a map that leads others into freedom. Every step you took is proof that God is faithful, and heaven delights in that reality. Anointed one, heaven's laughter also proclaims a divine transfer. What was pilfered will be restored with interest. What was constrained will be released in fullness. Heaven laughs because provision is shifting, opportunities are aligning, influence is being rerouted into the hands of those who remain faithful when no one praised them. This is not chance, it is covenant. Heaven's laughter is the sound of supernatural redistribution. Chosen one. When doors open wide, enter boldly. These are not accidents. They are assignments. Heaven laughs because the route was readied before you even knew it was there. No obstacle can keep you out. No barrier can stay standing. His laughter means the way has already been prepared. His laughter means keys are already in your possession. I understand the doubts that surface in such seasons. I have asked them myself. Why me? Am I truly chosen? Do I merit this? But God reminded me it was never about meriting. It has always been about surrender. Heaven does not laugh because you earned it. Heaven laughs because you consented to carry it. Your obedience possesses eternal significance. Your yes has already shattered generational chains and unleashed freedom that will resonate long after you. Anointed One, recall this as well. God's laughter is warfare. It destabilizes strongholds of darkness. It mocks the pointlessness of hell's efforts. It is the sound that declares, this conflict is already concluded. Heaven laughs because the adversary overextended his hand. What was intended to entomb you has become the soil of your blessing. What was crafted to quiet you has amplified your voice. What was designed to shatter you has made you unshakable. Chosen One, let this reality ground you. If God is laughing, you can rest. If God is laughing, you can trust. His laughter is not careless. His laughter is covenantal. It is the eternal proclamation that he has already perceived the conclusion, and that conclusion is victory. His laughter is louder than fear, greater than doubt, stronger than every murmur of inadequacy. So rise, Anointed One. This season is not about enduring. It is about overflowing. It is not about concealment. It is about revelation. It is not about postponement. It is about manifestation. Heaven laughs because your mantle is too substantial to stay unseen. Your authority is too keen to stay unheard. Your influence is too vast to stay restricted. Chosen One, carry heaven's laughter as your anthem. Let it quiet fear. Let it crush comparison. Let it stabilize your soul when doubt attempts to murmur again. Step forward in assurance, knowing that heaven has already celebrated you. The proclamation is spoken. The result is determined. The laughter of the King is your covering, your confidence, and your eternal crown. Chosen One, hear me distinctly. The laughter of heaven is not a faint resonance fading into quiet. It is the living roar of eternity, the sound of God's victory vibrating through creation. When the Father laughs, it is not amusement. It is not entertainment. It is a decree. It is power. His laughter declares the certainty of triumph before your natural eyes can grasp it. His laughter rattles the unseen territories and proclaims that every plot of darkness has already disintegrated. His joy is the assurance that your destiny is sealed in victory. Anointed One, his laughter is alive this very instant. It is not limited to yesterday's wins or tomorrow's pledges. It is shielding you right now, enveloping you like a safeguard. When God laughs, angels are mobilized. When he laughs, locked doors swing open. When he laughs, chains you deem permanent shatter in pieces. His laughter alters atmospheres and demands alignment. It is the sound of acceleration. It is heaven's proclamation that the blessing has already departed his throne and is speeding into your life. I understand the ache of silence. I know the burden of waiting. I have sat in long nights where prayer felt unanswered and hope felt delicate. I questioned if heaven had looked away. Yet when breakthrough came suddenly, I grasped it. Heaven had never been silent. God had been laughing all along. His laughter was not mocking me. It was shielding me. His joy was proof that the postponement was by design, that the waiting was preparation, that what felt squandered was actually working for my benefit. His laughter signified I was never deserted, only concealed until the designated time. Chosen One, your very survival is not minor. It is prophecy in action. Every breath is a testament. Every step you take proclaims to hell itself, the plan has failed. The enemy crafted your collapse with meticulousness. But here you are. You prayed when you felt depleted. You forgave when resentment seemed safer. You hoped when despair pressed intensely. Each act shook the unseen. Each choice triggered heaven's joy. Heaven laughs because the one they anticipated would fall is still standing in victory, anointed one. His laughter does not just honor survival, it indicates multiplication. You are not just retrieving fragments, you are stepping into abundance. What was infertile will bloom again. What was fractured will be reconstructed stronger. What was postponed will arrive abruptly. Heaven laughs because your portion is not emptiness, but plenty. Your inheritance is not scarcity, but overflow. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. His laughter is evidence that you will not conclude in deficiency, but in abundance. Chosen one, release yesterday's shame. Cease rehearsing failures. Stop dwelling on mistakes. Heaven's laughter is louder than regret. It nullifies guilt. It obliterates condemnation. You are not shackled to the past. You are not characterized by wounds. You are not constrained by weakness. You are chosen, anointed, redeemed, and appointed. Heaven laughs because your name is inscribed in the eternal book of destiny, and no hand can remove it. I too have wrestled with unworthiness. I have whispered in private, "Why me? Am I sufficient?" But the Lord replied, "It is not about perfection, it is about surrender." Heaven does not laugh because you achieved flawlessly. Heaven laughs because you yielded. That yes held eternal significance. That obedience altered timelines. That faith sowed seeds that will flourish long after you are gone. Your surrender has changed storylines you cannot yet perceive. This is why his laughter is perpetual, because it is rooted in covenant, not performance. Anointed one, never forget that his laughter is also warfare. It dismantles strongholds. It mocks the futility of the adversary's tactics. It declares to every demonic entity, this conflict is already concluded. Heaven laughs because the weapons aimed at you failed. Heaven laughs because curses transformed into blessings. Heaven laughs because pits dug for you became wells of provision. Heaven laughs because what was intended to annihilate you has only revealed your resilience. Chosen one, let that sound permeate your spirit. Let it become your anthem. Carry it into the night when fear surfaces. Carry it into the morning when doubt murmurs. If God is laughing, you can trust. If God is laughing, you can rest. If God is laughing, you can walk courageously, knowing the end is already guaranteed. His joy is your shield. His laughter is your confidence. His delight is your crown. So rise now, anointed one. Pray as if the answer is already in your grasp. Speak as if the door is already open. Move as if the crown already rests on your head. You are not pursuing victory. You are advancing from it. You are not pleading for approval. You are living from approval already granted. The King's laughter surrounds you. It carries you. It covers you. It confirms you. Chosen one, lift your head high. The delays are shattered. The testimony is alive. The story is unfolding. Heaven laughs because your conclusion is already triumph. You are chosen. You are anointed. You are destined to win. Selected one. As this message concludes, I want you to sense the gravity of heaven's laughter still abiding over you. The King has smiled. The throne has trembled, and your name has been uttered in joy. That laughter was not hollow. It was the sign that your Kairos moment has commenced. What you prayed in quiet has already moved the heavens. What you murmured in frailty has already been recorded as victory. Anointed one, this is not the conclusion of your narrative. It is the turning of the page. The divine transfer is already underway. Doors are lining up, blessings are meeting, and breakthroughs are speeding toward you. The ground that once seemed like a grave site is now the place of your blossoming. The tears you planted in private are emerging as a harvest in plenty. So advance with sacred assurance. Stand tall in thankfulness, aware that the author of your fate is laughing over you with joy. His delight is your power, His laughter your shield, His promise your legacy. Remain faithful, remain aligned. Continue saying yes, even when the action feels minor. Every act of obedience is reverberating in eternity. Selected one, I bless you, with bravery for the path forward, calm for every conflict, insight to perceive beyond what your eyes can grasp. Pass this message to those who require it and keep your heart receptive for more. Subscribe if your spirit guides you and proclaim in the comments, I accept this victory. Go now in assurance. The King has laughed and your victory is already guaranteed.